Welcome, YouTube family. What's up? Anna Hendricks here, spiritual guide and teacher, Akashic Soul channel, and podcast host of the Soul Driven podcast. I am going to be showing up on YouTube in very different ways in 2026, doing my best to remember to record videos of my podcast. And today we're going to be diving into the February Akashic record forecast. Okay. So I'm pulling you in, I'm pulling you in live to see the whole process. They see things from the background. If you have not tuned in to the 2026 Akashic forecast, then I highly recommend. I will leave a link in the show notes. If you are interested in learning more about the Akashic records or in following me as a spiritual guide, I have political episodes. I have a number of things that I'm going to be bringing into YouTube. So make sure to subscribe, to follow this channel, to share it with people who may be interested. Leave your questions below. Leave anything that you've got below. I've got so many plans for 2026, and I'm really excited to start getting to know you in a very unique and more personal way, if you will. So what we're going to be doing today is here in just a moment, I am going to tune in, open up the Akashic records for the listeners of my podcast, and then channeling through the Akashic message for February. So I do this every single month. In fact, I have channeled monthly forecasts since 2020. You can check them out at the Soul Driven podcast. Again, link will be below. So you can go and tune in there and kind of like dig through the tons of episodes that I have recorded. I think we've got almost 300 now. So really coming up on the amount of episodes that I have been putting out. But there's all kinds of resources there, supportive materials, looking at all kinds of political topics, general topics from the perspective of the Akashic records. And if you are not familiar with the Akashic records, then suffice it to say that you'll be learning more about them. When I tune into the Akashic records, what I am tuning into is an energetic library of information that covers everything past, present, future. Because the Akashic records, well, let me step back. Because everything is energy, everything has an Akashic record. And my work in the Akasha is very psychological. It's very emotional. I assist people in moving through life, in healing aspects of themselves so that they can come back to who they are. I consider the Akashic records to be the most powerful tool for self-empowerment, especially in these times. And as the world is changing and things are falling apart around us, I highly recommend learning more about the Akashic records because they are here to assist you. And definitely be sure to check out my work if any of this resonates. Definitely check out my soul politics episodes. We just produced the second one that went out earlier this month. This is like a co-hosted episode that I'm recording with another fellow psychic, Lauren, who brings in her perspectives, tarot cards, like those types of things. And we dive into major events that are occurring here within the United States and are affecting the United States. So, especially with the news that is pervading the headlines right now, everything that you're going to want to learn more about from an intuitive perspective, from a higher perspective, I highly recommend. The thing that is really important for me in these times is to provide you another avenue, another way of looking at what it is that we're moving through, what is unfolding for us. Make no mistake about it, your soul chose to be here during these times. And no matter how much you are affected by what's going on and how difficult it is, know that you are ready for it. That is why we're moving through it together. So I'm here to assist. I'm here to guide. I'm here to offer up another perspective, a higher way of seeing things. So without further ado, I'm actually going to take a drink of water, take a moment to just kind of tune in, and then we'll get started. Okay, so give me a moment here and we will begin. Holy Spirit of God, please help me to share the message that the Master Teacher loved ones have for the listeners of the Soul Driven podcast to keep me in your light so I may help guide and teach your full potential. Being guided and protected by Guru energy and the Holy Spirit of God, keeping all forms of self-centeredness aside. I enter the listeners of the Soul Driven podcast records by the grace of God and the Holy Spirit. I enter the listeners of the Soul Driven podcast records by the grace of God and the Holy Spirit. The records are now open. Master teachers, loved ones, please channel through practical, clear, useful information for us today. And thank you so much. As we're sitting on the precipice of February, what is coming for us? What is going to be showing up in the month ahead? What do we most need to know? What is our Akashic forecast message? There are things that are happening here that you can't even imagine. Yes, we know that January has taken you through quite a bit of this unfolding. Things that you weren't anticipating came to the surface. You are being pulled in one direction or another, depending upon who you are. Yes, all of humanity is, regardless of where it is that you are located. These things must be done. The tide that is turning right now must be flipped over. First of all, it's important for us to say that the month ahead in which you are beginning to step into is a powerful one. It is a fiery one. There are going to be so many things happening that it's going to be difficult for you to stay in your seat, for you to stay abreast of all that is occurring. There will be things popping up left, right, and center. The news itself will be on fire. What's important for you to know in these times moving forward is something that we brought through in the 2026 Akashic forecast. The importance of taking care of yourself. While we could sit here and tell you so much about what will be coming forward for you, please understand that it's going to look so different depending upon who you are, where you're located at, and the perspective that you currently have. Certainly the color of your skin. It's going to be different for so many of you. But what's most important for you to know is that you buckle in, is that you get very serious about your spiritual endeavors, that you reconnect with yourself, that you learn how to locate that peace within. During this month, there are going to be times in which you're going to feel as if you simply want to opt out, disappear, move to another place and get away from the undoing that is taking place. But let us tell you, there will be no place on this planet from which you can get away from things. No, that would just be a momentary distraction. Where you are at right now is serving a purpose. We encourage you to sit with that, to look at it, to consider what the lesson is for you, and to allow yourself to tune into what may be coming forward. If you feel the need to run, if you feel the need to shut all things off, understand that part of your self-care may require that in these times, and that is okay. But know the difference from when you are choosing to look away and when you are choosing to ignore what is taking place. Understand that what's occurring right now is a collective change across the planet and in different ways. It's difficult for us to speak into the specifics of this simply because this audience is so wide-ranging. Therefore, let us zero in, tune in to the United States, where not only this channel is located, but so too are the majority of its audience members. February is going to be a very difficult month. Things that are taking place within the government are going to be beyond unfair. There will be horrific things continuing to happen. Deaths, beatings, even that which you have not seen yet, that which is happening behind closed doors to those who are separate from you. For those in charge do not care. They see the collective who is pushing back, a nation that is beginning to wake up, and that is just making them grasp tighter and tighter onto their will, what they want to happen, the ways they want to push the narrative. Understand that the person who you believe to be in charge is not. In fact, he is a parody to those behind him. He is the one taking the brunt of all the pushback. Yet it is those behind him who are orchestrating everything. Please understand that in these times, unity is of utmost importance. We know this is difficult to extend love to those who are on the other side, as they say. But we encourage you to do so in every way that you can, for understand that those people too are beginning to wake up, are beginning to see things differently. And it is important that you welcome them in with compassion, or you give them a place to be heard. Because the truth is that the plans and actions that are in place are going to hurt every level of society moving forward. February is a deep month for that, and an activation, meaning that heels are going to be dug in further. And that which has already been lit will expand and will grow. These are very difficult times. We do not want to inundate you with the difficulty of what is ahead, simply because there is so much. Instead, we want to remind you, you are here for a purpose and a reason, and you are capable of moving through these times much better than you realize. Be mindful of where your mind is. Be mindful of where your heart is. Be mindful of ensuring that you are not pushing more hate into the world, that you are also not fulfilling prophecies of doing the same to others. Be different. Be unique. Take care of yourself in the midst of it. and buckle in because there is so much ahead. You must understand that the breaking down of society is only going to continue and deepen, for it has been off tracks for a very long time. But right now, you are moving through a reckoning. That reckoning will take years because it will require time to wake up the collective, to push it into a place where change is required, is mandated. In every area of the government and in the systems that are managing your everyday. You must understand that what has been taking place is already undoing that which has been firmly implanted for a long time. It will require your voice. It will require pushback. It will require your engagement on whatever level you are able to give it. Understand that this redirection is within your hands at this time. And the amount of length in which everything is moving through is dependent upon how long it takes to shift that direction. For humanity is not the same as it was before. No, it cannot go back. It must go forward. And that is the blessing of these times. Remember that no matter what happens, there are no victims, for no, indeed, these souls came in to live their lives, to die for humanity when needed. And while it may seem that lives are ended in vain, know that that is not the case. Never indeed is that the case. Everything serves a purpose. Everything serves a purpose. I just wanted to kind of elaborate on this. This is something that I'll be doing in the podcast episode. In these regular podcasts, I kind of do an introduction. We touch on the month before, and then I share the Akashic forecast, and then we dive into the breakdown of that. So if you'd like to really hear the full breakdown, then I highly recommend tuning into the full episode itself. Because when I'm in the Akashic Records, it's difficult for me to also be present with what is being shared. And so I typically go back, spend time with it, see what else wants to come forward, and then I break that down for listeners. But the one thing I did want to share, because I am recording this video, the thing is that February is going to be a huge month. And if you've been tuning into astrologers, then you know this. We have some major transits that are taking place. Energetically, things are moving in a huge way. It's going to be a very difficult month. And what I mean by that specifically is what is taking place in the collective is going to be very difficult. That is also going to affect our personal lives because, of course, we are all connected and we feel things when we see horror is taking place in the lives of others. I know that I do. And as I have shared in my podcast so many times, if I didn't have the perspective of the Akashic Records, it would be difficult for me to even get out of bed. I am deeply empathetic and have to daily be very mindful about how I manage my energy just so that I can move through the world and in my everyday. Because, of course, me staying in bed and being absolutely heartbroken by what is taking place isn't serving my community, Is it serving you? Isn't serving myself, right? But point being, we are running a marathon right now. What is taking place in the United States is a marathon right now. Different things are becoming unhinged all over the world. And what's so important, and what the Akasha really, really wanted to focus on again for February, is the importance of self-care, is the importance of stepping away when you need to, the importance of prioritizing joy, of taking care of yourself, of doing whatever it is that you need to do in these times, because we have to learn how to manage yourself in these times. You know, I've been channeling the Akashic Records since 2020, the early part of 2020. And every single year, you know, and throughout this time, we have been more and more prepared. Our nervous systems have become more prepared for these times. And we are equipped. That's why we're here. You know, in some ways, it's kind of we've graduated to the point where we are ready for the difficult level. And that is not easy. And that is not without pain, without heartache, without deterioration of the things around us. But, you know, the major message for the 2026 Akashic forecast was we have to take care of ourselves. Spiritual practice is non-negotiable in these times, non-negotiable. Whether that is journaling in the morning, whether that is exercising your body, whether that is meditating, connecting to the Akashic Records, connecting with your guides, your higher self, you know, praying, which is something I do daily. Definitely protecting yourself energetically. It is a must. And it doesn't, what's going to happen around us doesn't matter as much as our experience through it, right? Because the truth is that the more that you take care of yourself, the more that you can thrive during these times, the more that you can assist others during these times. And that is going to help everything move along faster. So there are people behind the scenes who are doing everything right now to distract us from what's really important, to divide us, to make us focus on all the horrible things. And I encourage you to push back. And that is what the Akasha wants to encourage you with the February Akashic forecast. You know, start a gratitude practice every single day so that you can stay focused on the things that you are grateful for that you have. Because if you're tuning into this video, then you do have things to have. We always have things to be thankful for. And it's important for us to tune into those things, to be aware of those things, to focus on the good that is here. Okay. Our experience right now of what is taking place is either improving things or it is breaking things down further. And as I love to say within my work, I encourage you to speak life into the collective right now, to speak love into the collective right now. We are going to see a lot of people with opposite views from us starting to shift, starting to wake up. And we need to be prepared to offer them compassion. Remember, every single person on this planet is on their own path. But every single person on this planet is a spiritual being. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And our souls are perfect, pure beings. And so at our core, we are all good. And when you look out on the world and you see these people who are doing horrible things, understand that the majority of them are operating from a place of wounding, of pain, of ignorance. I just shared recently on my social media channels on Instagram, as a spiritual guide and teacher, if a MAGA person comes to me, if someone who believes in different things comes to me, someone who's done terrible things comes to me for help, my job is to hold space for them. Not because I agree, not to encourage, but because anyone can get lost. And I encourage you to be open to the same, because showing kindness to someone right now truly could save the world. and save it much faster, save us a lot of pain. We can't forget that we're in control of these times. And right now, the timelines, there's so many. There's so many. And as a collective, we have to choose in what direction we want to go. Make no mistake about it, we can't go backwards. So how fast are we going to move forward? I hope that this served you. I would love to know how the message resonated with you. It was interesting because when they first started sharing information, it was like they were trying to encapsulate the planet, right? Like so many different countries. And so it was like difficult, the information coming out. And then they were like, okay, we're going to narrow it into the United States. So if you are tuning in from somewhere else in the world, like I'm sending you so much love. I know the US isn't everything, but of course, I can't. There's so much on the planet right now, right? I have to narrow in. And I know that as of right now, the majority of my audience and my listeners are located within the United States. That being said, if I end up getting a lot more listeners from around the world, then I could do things on Europe, on Asia, on, you know what I'm saying? And I would love to do those things. I have primarily focused on things from the US perspective, simply because this is where I'm currently living and what I grew up in, what I can speak into. So anyway, I am sending you so much love. Please check out the episode below. Definitely tune into the 2026 Akashic forecast. I will be also recording an episode soon as well, really focusing on the themes for 2026. Okay. So that you can really kind of narrow it down. Would love to know how today's message resonated with you. If you have any questions, leave them below. Again, please subscribe, follow along the journey. Definitely check out the Soul Politic episodes with Lauren, my fellow friend and psychic. And thank you so much for being here. No, if you're new to these parts, that's okay. My mantra is when you invest in yourself, the world benefits. Sending you so much love.